Hello traders, good weekend. Vladimir here, and this is the weekly Forex review and a forecast for what might turn to be the most important week of 2016, maybe 17, and the years to come. We are talking about the US presidential elections, and it will be hot. It's going to happen on Tuesday. And meanwhile, it's very important to mention you guys have to play safe, and that means wait for the real good opportunities, because such things could affect the market, and every rumor or every new speculation to pull in the industry could really change the whole thing for the market. So stay safe, wait for the right opportunities, and the right opportunities means when you have a trade with minimal risk, maximal reward of what you can get of every specific setup. Don't try to be a hero and just make a call and say, okay, it looks good. Wait for the right setup according to your strategy or method you use, because that's what can save you a lot of money and make the entire difference between profits or loss on such periods. So I'm going to make it short, this video, because seriously there is nothing too much to talk about. Mainly what we can expect and the directions, because before such events, really it's all about kind of predicting and gambling. So we're going to make some plans which we are going to follow, and if they happen, we're going to trade them and trade them very seriously. But besides the presidential elections, we have on Wednesday the cash rate in New Zealand. They expect to cut it, so I believe New Zealand dollar would be one of the most interesting to trade. Remember that on Friday we have a bank holiday, which means nothing to happen. Okay, so the most interesting day would be, of course, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That's where the things should start and happen. So let's go with the New Zealandian first one, which I believe is going to be very interesting. I'm talking about the Aussie Kiwi, which is really on the range. This is a daily range. According to monthly chart, we're only after buys. You remember the special cycle we've had, the divergence, everything inside, daily and weekly, create a range. But the most interesting thing, that we already start to see a potential of bullish hidden divergence. Now 4-hour chart might go and start to create for us this situation. This is exactly where we wanted to see that. Note, this is 161.8. We're coming very, very close to the 161.8 of that. It could turn to be also kind of a triple cycle here. So basically 104 zone and slightly higher or lower. We are after buys. How do we buy in these situations? We want to see false breaks, which means, let me just take it lower a bit. Okay. No, sorry. I'm working from my laptop today, as I'm away of my office for 2 weeks. Where is that studio? No. Here I go, I found it. Alright. Sorry guys, just new to me, all this place. So basically what we are looking for is a situation like creation of a false break. If we have 2 false breaks, it's even ideally. Then we want to see higher highs going to this area and creating the momentum, and we are going for a buy. So basically it's really simple setup which we need to follow, and yet we need to follow. That's very, very important to say here. Don't rush to buy and wait for the right opportunity. If New Zealand really cut the rates and might hint that in the future they will take more actions, then you can go and look for a great setup here. One more interesting situation around the New Zealand is the New Zealand dollar. Oops, what did I do? See what's going on, guys, when I'm working out from my computer? It's really strange. Alright, New Zealand dollar, basically it did the second scenario we were talking about, which it could do. We were after shorts, and we said that there is a chance we are going to see this kind of shorts, right? And that's exactly what it does. By far, it's rallying. But this week, since the expectations and due to the expectations of the rate cuts, it made the rally. And now the question is, are we going for shorts from here? Or are we going for one more false break to the top around 0.75, maybe even higher 0.76, with one more leg of divergence? And that could happen if the New Zealandian actually don't cut the rates, or if they do cut the rates and say that's all for a long time. That's the two things that could make the change. So what we do as traders, we are waiting for the best setup. Best setup means we are looking now on this cycle, right? In other words, we are now, let me just mark it for you guys here. In other words, we are now on the duplication zone. So this is where the action zone should happen. Now what could happen here as well is a rally towards the 161.8, maybe even break above it. And if you note, you would see that the daily chart 161.8 might take us for a new high. See? Now we do have a bearish hidden divergence here. We do have a bearish continuing divergence starts to form. That's why shorts from this area makes a lot of sense, especially if we add to that also this special cycle forming here. Shorts from here make a lot of sense. The best way to do that would be patience with two false breaks. We already have two false breaks, 1, 2, but we do need to go for momentum change, which means lower lows. If we do have the lower lows, then we go for two waves up, and with the breakout we can go and start to look for sells. Now the question is where it will happen, from here or the 161.8. But that's the same scenario we would be looking for. And I would just want to remind you, we are after this triple cycle idea. So it means we're going to 0.86, 0.68, sorry. Or if it keeps creating a new high, we are going to maybe even see better reaction from better price. Okay. And remember this, we'll be looking on a triple cycle for 50% retrace. This is our goal here. That's for the New Zealand dollar, which looks really good. And of course, that takes me to the trade that maybe we've been waiting for too long. New Zealandian Canadian. The pair is under the duplication zone, okay, of these two cycles. Now it has the bearish divergence forming right here. Now it makes also duplication of these two cycles, which you can see better on the weekly here. Okay, divergence is there. Levels are there. Everything in between 0.98 towards the parity are monster levels. Now what could happen here? We start to see this top trend line, as you can see, and we might start to dance around it for a false break. This is a bend to bend movement with half of the duplication. It might take us still for further duplication, but this is where we have to start look for the possible sell setups. By ideal with two false breaks, okay, like we did with the we planned there, because we are still against the weekly, right? So something like one false break, two false breaks. Well, what happened to my pen here? So this should be one false break and the second false break. You guys have to forgive me for my drawing qualities this weekend and also the next weekend, because from this laptop and it's really not that comfortable. So I'll try it once again now, something like that. One and okay, you got the point, guys, right? So that's what we will be looking for. And what's going on with this mouse? Too weird. And after that, after two false breaks, we will need one situation of momentum change, which means lower lows to be created. Once the lower lows are created, we know the momentum back to the bears, and then we can go and look for sell rallies. Okay, so basically that's what we want to see and happen. False breaks here, right? Then lower lows, something like that. Then changing that to the rally and look for sell right after that. This is our goal and the plan for the New Zealand dollar and basically all of them. Okay, so that's what we're looking for. And again, remember, the target should be the 30, it depends where the top will be, right? 38.2 of these two cycles, and then you can go and look for to trade the entire huge cycle from the weekly, and targets then could be much better. So remember the bottom line, it's all about the risk reward. Now we spoke enough about the New Zealand pairs. Let's take a look on the other opportunities. Pound dollar made a fly during last week, since there are speculations that the government of the UK will not be able to run the Brexit as was voted, which means we are after buys, okay, and we kind of build a special cycle here. So every 2 waves down is opportunity to go for a buy. We have support around 123, 122. We have a trend line. As long as they both are respected, we're looking for 2 waves down back to this area, and from there buy. Euro dollar, same story. Many things depends what's going to happen on the elections, but euro dollar still is able to start the second rally towards 116, maybe even 118. And what I would want to see here is, of course, the hold of this trend line, the break of this trend line. As long as it holds, it can turn around any moment, especially now with the bend to bend Bollinger Bands. See that bend to bend movement in the Bollinger Band? Bearish hit and divergence. It can turn around and make the down move. If it breaks and creates here some kind of new momentum by higher highs, that's a call to buy retraces. And then we are going to 116, 118. So you can imagine, you see, many pairs reach specific levels. For what reason? For a reason that because from this zone everything could happen, bulls or bears to take control, and everything would be decided by the elections in the US. And see how it happens? They take us to that very place where we have to decide by ourselves, but we can't because we are right on the trend line without any kind of confirmation besides divergences. Not false breaks yet, right? No momentum will change. So we have to play it safe, and this is the bottom line in that situation. Wait for the opportunities, wait for the things to happen as we want them to happen, and only then go and attack. And that's on most of the pairs, they are on these deciding zones. Dollar Canadian also approaching to the 135, almost reached that, and we are getting ready for sell. How? We have 2 false breaks. We need to go below this low, which is 133.50. If we can get the momentum below 133.50, we can go and sell rallies. Because remember of this 2 cycle on the weekly chart? It will get ready to make a drop down, dive down. So we just need to wait for the setups, and that's why I say we are all the pairs, we are on critical zones. Get ready for action. And this weekend video is not different from the previous one for some of the pairs. It's still preparing. In dollar Canadian, for example, right? This is a good example here. It's ranging all this period, right? For a couple of weeks, it's dancing around the same zone. And this is the idea. We are now waiting for the clear setup. We want lower lows, like this. Then retrace in 2 waves up and look for the break of the trend line. That's what can give you the best risk reward from specific levels. Dollar yen, also, you see, it's now in a possibility that we are going for a special cycle here, which means on the top of this range, right, we might get the dive down. And if you remember, a weekend before, what did we speak about? That it will be the time to look for sell. Remember the statistical view? We did. Now this weekend I cannot share with you the statistical view. I don't have it here with me on this computer. So if you don't remember the dates, go back to the previous weekend and you'll see. We are on a very classical day levels to make things happen. So dollar yen, as long as it holds this trend line, we can look for buy opportunities, especially if divergence would be involved. If we break down, there is a good chance that this range is going to be broken down and take us for the final bottom according to the weekly chart, right, around 97 or 95 before we can make a fly again. Now it's time to take a look on some crosses. OZ Kiwi reaching around the 103, 104 we wanted. Divergence is there everywhere, weekly, daily, 4-hour chart. So sell, sell, sell. That's the only thing I can say. Looking for sells here, of course, expecting 0.99, maybe even lower. Well, crosses like Euro pound, I don't really have any view right now, so I'll skip that. But we have the CAD yen approaching also a monster level, a fix of the triple cycle up, double cycle down. Divergence is here, so we can start looking for the buys. And I want to remind you where it all comes from the weekly chart, the triple cycle from weekly. Every low, even if we get a new low, it's only for buy opportunities, because the fly to come after that is going to be massive, 87 or 90, and that's why it's only buys. Only buys. Cat franc, same story. Where is cat franc? Cat franc, here we go. Okay, corrected exactly as expected. It did here, right? The triple cycle, now down to 50% of it, and this is where the bullish situation really is expected to take place from. Okay, so that's where it starts to be very interesting. We do also have a trend line here, as you can see, holding that. Now the way the weekly chart looks, yeah, we might still try to make a push lower. That's a possibility, definitely. But look on the weekly, on the monthly cycle. Okay, this triple cycle here. Okay, we have a divergence with everything. We have the trend line broken and retested right now. We can't ask for more. The bottom line, we cannot ask for more. It's coming and it's building. Yeah, it might take some time, definitely. But once it happens, that's kind of situation when I have to say, boy, oh boy, and that's where we want to be involved. So get ready, guys. And yes, it could take some time. Remember that. It could. But once it makes the move, that's where we want to be involved. S&P also should be deciding. Neither we go for. It actually did what we wanted, okay? 2 waves down correction, reaching a very good zone. It still has room to go because of the divergences are not around, and the correction of 32 of this double cycle still lower, okay? But the biggest question is, who is going to be elected? And accordingly, the weekly cycle will decide. Are we after a false break and a crash, or are we about to see a reverse here and new highs towards 2400? So both scenarios are possible. We stay short. We are short for 2 weeks now from the convergence situation. Oil also making the first range after the 2 waves up, which means we would be looking to go and look for buys. We want to go and look for buys from this zone. If we can go to around 40, that would be ideal. That's where we will want to look for actions for buys with bullish divergences. But there is one thing to pay attention to. This could be the end, because we kind of have here potential triple to form, or a special cycle, depends how we go and measure that. We start to see the divergences here. So we need 2 false breaks and higher high situations. Then and only then we can go and make, then and only then we can go make some action. So we need basically this 1, 2, okay, 1 false break, 2 false breaks, and higher highs. Once we have that, we can go and look to long. Okay, that's the view of the oil. And ideally, we get it lower, closer to 40. How much closer? 42 is close enough. I really don't know to mark the level, but we do have this range. We do have the divergence forming. It's time to get ready. And if the dollar CAD will make the move down, this is where we want to be involved with. So that will be all for this weekend, guys. As I said, nothing I can say, maybe besides the Canadian pairs, which require get ready for action. There's nothing I can say now. It's best to trade, but you have to be ready for these things. And many of the setups should be decided by Tuesday. So these are exactly the dates where we want to look for the action, and this is the time for us, the traders, to be ready to act. We have been waiting for many of the setups to start and happen. They are building these levels right now. It's going to be interesting. Be there when it happens. And I'm sorry for my low class drawing abilities this weekend. Just very hard to work from this. I'm used to do it from my office, but since I'm away for these 2 weeks, that's what we have to, to do. I still wanted to make this recording for you guys, so you basically can be ready for actions and know the zones where you will want to act. So it was very important to me to make this recording for you. I hope it helps, and I hope you have some clearer view, guys. If you enjoy the videos, click the like, leave your comment. That's what keeps me motivated to make these things for you. And that's all. Feel free to share with anyone who you believe can have any benefit out of it. And I'll see you again the next weekend. So thank you for your time, and I wish you great trading and happy US presidential elections for everyone who is interested in what's going to happen, and it's going to be interesting. Thanks for your time, and happy weekend. Good trading. Vladimir.